releasing toxic pollutants in the shutdowns on acid rain falls down and the pH drops and it washes away my soil, soils and destroys all the flowers and I wanna scream. Acid rain falls down and contaminates, it's hard to. That was great.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Conor Day.
Thanks for that, Liz.
So now we're going to go into the more technical explanation of acid rain. So what is acid rain? Broadly, it's used to describe two forms of acid deposition. There's wet and dry. Wet deposition is a more classic idea of acid rain. It's acidic rain, fog, and snow. And dry deposition is acidic gases and particles. Acidic precipitation usually has a pH of less than 5.6. Rain naturally has a more acidic, is more acidic because carbon dioxide dissolves in water from carbonic acid. The two main contributing molecules to acid rain are sulfur dioxide and NOx compounds. So acid is created when sulfur dioxide and NOx react with water and oxygen and other chemicals in the atmosphere. So there are two different types of sources of these molecules. There's anthropogenic and natural sources. Anthropogenic sources of sulfur usually come from fossil fuels like coal and oil, and they are released through combustion of those fossil fuels. So you'll see like 69% of the sulfur dioxide that is released is from large industrial point sources. The natural sources of sulfur dioxide are volcanoes and sea spray, and they're very small contribution to compared to the anthropogenic sources. Sources of NOx, anthropogenic sources also come from combustion. The atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, so when that mixes with the oxygen in combustion, it forms NOx. And natural sources are lightning.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about more the chemical reactions. So how SO2 becomes sulfuric acid. So you have SO2, which is a gas, reacting with hydroxyl radicals in the atmosphere, creating HOSO2. And then the H2SO2 readily reacts with oxygen gas in the atmosphere, creating SO3. So in the presence of water, SO3 becomes sulfuric acid, and then when there's rain, it gets rained down. And also, there's destroying of limestone, which is it reacts with calcium carbonate, which is CaSO3, and with sulfuric acid, creating gypsum, which is the calcium sulfate plus carbon dioxide and water. And gypsum is like the flaky stuff that limestone is. When it gets destroyed, it just comes off. And you see the historic monuments when sulfuric acid reacts with calcium compounds. And this is a picture of the Thinker Man in the Rodents Museum of Arts, and you see the before and after restoration. And this is the U.S. national SO2 emissions, and you see that we've actually decreased our emissions of SO2 from when it was at its peak before the 1980s, and I think EPA has a program that's trying to phase out more SO2 in like 2010 and 20, and they have like certain goals that we have to reach. And how NO2 becomes nitric acid. NO2, which is a gas from power plants, react with hydroxyl radicals to become nitric acid. And this is a picture of the U.S. national NOx emissions. And also, you see that it's been reduced a lot since '95. I don't think they really kept data before the early '90s, but I know the U.S. has like phase goals that they have to meet in terms of phasing out NOx.
Okay, so the strongest effects of acid rain can be seen on the ecosystem, mainly in streams, lakes, and marshes. So it's aquatic habitats, and it affects primarily watersheds with low buffering capacities. So mostly affected are fish and other organisms that live there. For example, at pH 5, most fish eggs can't hatch, and some acid lakes don't even have any fish in them. This graphic taken from the EPA's website shows how different organisms can live in the water with different pHs. However, because of interdependence between species, even though frogs can live at pH 4, they may eat the mayflies or the mayflies, which can only live in pH 5.5. So that could also kill the frogs, and then that's bad. Yeah. In addition, toxic aluminum is released when if the soil has a low buffering capacity, and this can aluminum is toxic to some species. There's also strong effects on the forest. For example, like it will slow growth, it can just injure the trees, and also it can cause the complete death of forests. So there's damage to their leaves from the acid, but mostly it'll limit the nutrients available because